lose your audience when you speak? Do you get a polite but insincere, "Oh, that's interesting," response when you talk about what you do, but no one ever seems to want to take the next step with you? Well, this month on the Smart Networking Shift, our topic was how to fascinate and engage your listener in 30 seconds or less. Being able to talk about what you do in a way that grabs the attention and interest of your ideal clients and partners is so important in promoting your business. Within the 3 Steps Relationships to Revenue system, what you'll learn on this call are insights that will help you with step 1, and that's all about relevance. You may do excellent work, but how do you get your target audience to care? And they'll only care if your message is relevant to them. And you don't want to be known as just another consultant or CPA firm or headhunting company. There are thousands of those around. Part of how you're going to stand out instead of blending into the background is by how effectively you talk about your business. Now, most service professionals don't do these things, so you'll be miles ahead when you put them into practice. Our guest on this call was Ann Convery. She is a marketing expert, but she was also a media trainer for a PR firm for 15 years, which is an important distinction. She knows exactly what it takes to make a memorable point and grab a listener's attention in a very short amount of time. And you can reach her at her website at annconvery.com, and her Twitter handle is @SpeakYourBiz. There were so many gems that she shared, and I pulled out 5 to get you started, but you should definitely listen to the whole call, and I'll tell you at the end of this video where you can get access to the full interview, so stay tuned. Takeaway number 1, talk to the limbic brain. We have different areas of our brain that help us with the different things we do, and the part that triggers decision is the part that also responds to emotion. So if we want to capture someone's attention and have them decide to keep listening to us and engaging with us, not just because they want to be polite, but because they are genuinely interested, and if we want to have a chance of getting higher down the road, then we have to speak to that part of the brain. Even if you don't believe you work in a field that is very emotional at all, like accounting or strategy consulting, we think it's all about the numbers, right? But there is an emotional component to that for the person making the decision, and we have to learn to tap into that. Takeaway number 2, start with a story. When people ask you what you do, you go into your typical spiel, right? Well, Ann gives a terrific example of how not to do that, and how one of her clients who used to say, "I help women achieve 6-figure incomes," and that sounded so generic. It did engage people, and even though they all wanted that result. But when she led with a story instead that illustrated the point, everyone wanted to learn more and find out how she could do that for them. It really brought what she did to life. Takeaway number 3, big gap equals big decision. One of the things you want to include in your story is a big gap that shows where someone started to where they were able to go after working with you. You want to see a big positive arc because that helps them make a big decision. In professional services, if what you're offering are small incremental improvements, then your clients are going to expect to pay small dollars for them. But if you want them to move on a $100,000, $500,000 project, for example, especially if that's not pocket change for them, then you have to show them much greater possibilities. Takeaway number 4, fight your desire to tell everything. When you use some of these techniques and you finally get someone in front of you who is showing a lot of interest, you could still lose them by saying too much too soon. Ann talks about the Zeigarnik effect in psychology, which states that if people do not have all the answers or all the information they're looking for or expecting, they're 3 times more likely to remember you. I found this part of the interview extremely fascinating because Ann tells a great story about a client of hers in Germany who sold 200,000 euros of business because he fought the reflex to dive into his full sales presentation and give his audience everything at once. Takeaway number 5, get them out of their comfort zone. By not giving them all the information, you're putting people on edge because it's not what they're expecting. We all walk around in a very comfortable state most of the time, and even though your target audience may really need what you have to offer, you still have to get them to listen, and finding ways to pull them out of their comfort zone, to hear something different, to feel emotions they normally keep buried, it's a very powerful approach. There's so much more to my call with Ann, especially on this topic of telling stories, which ties into the takeaways we just talked about, and you can get the full interview by going to smartnetworking.com/Ann, and we will email a link to you, so be sure you put in your primary email address, the one you check the most, and you can get this interview for free. I want you to listen especially closely to Ann's simple but powerful point on how to structure your stories and specifically what to leave out that will make them even more compelling. So enjoy the audio and be sure to drop by my Facebook page. If you have any questions, just go to facebook.com/network with Liz. Share your breakthroughs and your insights that you have about your own business after you've listened. We'd love to hear from you.